We begin today the Gemara on Daf Pei Gimel Amud Aleph, 5 lines down from the top of the Yamud, where it says V'Rabchia bar Abba. The Gemara here is discussing the halacha that it said in the Mishnah on Pei Beis Amud Beis regarding a person that is transporting a barrel from one place to another, and the Mishnah there said that the Tanakama holds, which is Rab Meir, whether he's a Shem Chinam, whether he's a Shem Sachar, if he tripped and the barrel broke, he's going to be potter. And the reason is because it's considered to be something that's a oinus, it's out of his control, so he's not responsible for it. And the Gemara asked the contradiction from Rab Meir's opinion of what he said in Bava Metzia, that if a person was walking with a barrel or a jug and it broke on the floor and then someone else tripped on it, it is your responsibility because it was your negligence that you broke it there, and it's like you dug this pit. So there's a contradiction in Rab Meir's opinion regarding niskal, person that trips, is he a pesheya or not? And the Gemara before concluded that this is a real contradiction, and we have to say that there's two different opinions of what Rab Meir holds about this. So now the Gemara comes back to this contradiction, and the Gemara brings another opinion that we could answer. Rab Meir's opinion over here, Rab Meir Taka says that niskal is a pesheya. When you trip, it is your negligence. But over here, nevertheless, when you're transporting a barrel from one place to another, you will be potter if this happens. So the Gemara explains. Rabchia bar Abba Omer Rabbi Yechanan. Rabchia bar Abba said in the name of Rabbi Yechanan as follows: that in our case, really, he's negligent, so he should be responsible for it. But nevertheless, shvu ezu. Here the Chachamim allowed this person to swear that this is what happened. And the Gemara will soon describe exactly what he swears. And this is a takanas Chachamim, that the Chachamim instituted that you'll be potter here, because she'imi atoimeke. If you're not going to say that a person that's transporting a barrel, and if he trips and he breaks it, that he would be potter, so then ein lecha adam hamaver chaves l'chavera mimokim l'mokim. Nobody will want to transport a barrel from one place to another for his friend, because he's going to say to himself that I might slip, and then it's going to be my responsibility. It's considered to be a pshia, because a person should pay attention where he's going. But nevertheless, this is something that could happen quite often. So no one's going to want to do such work. So therefore, Chachamim instituted that this is something you should be potter for. If you swear that you tripped, you slipped, you'll be potter for this. Now, what exactly do you swear when you say that this is what happened? Usually, a shomer swears that I was not negligent. That's the shvuah. But in this case, though, he can't swear that he wasn't negligent, because this is considered to be a pshia if he slipped. So heichim ishtaba, what does he swear? Amar Rava, so Rava said, shvuah sheloi bekavana shvartia. He swears that it was unintentional that it broke. So even if it's considered to be my negligence, but it was unintentional because he tripped, and therefore he's going to be potter. This was a special takanas chachamim for this case. So yet Rab Meir Taka holds niskal. If you trip, you're a pesheya. Chachamim were masakin that you should be potter in this case. That's Rab Meir's opinion. Now the Gemara continues to explain the other opinions that were brought before in the Mishnah and the Braise. Then Rabbi Yehuda says that regarding this case, a person transporting a barrel from one place to another, and he tripped and it broke, that whether that there's a difference. It depends. Shem Chinam Yishova. If you're Shem Chinam, then you swear that this happened and you'll be potter. But Neisa Sachar Yishalem. But if you're being paid, so then you're going to have to pay for what happened. And the reason is, according to Rabbi Yehuda, Hai Kedine v'Hai Kedine. The Shem Chinam and the Shem Sachar is each according to their din. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person that trips, it's not a pure negligence. On the other hand, it's not also something which is a pure oinus, totally out of your control. You could pay attention where you're going, and therefore this is something which is similar to Gneva v'Aveda, which is potter by a Shem Chinam and Chayev by the Shem Sachar. And therefore here the same is the halacha, the distinction between the Shem Chinam and Shem Sachar. And the third opinion that the Gemara brought before, which is quoted in the Mishnah and the Braise, V'asa Rabbi Lazar Lameima, Rabbi Lazar comes and says that it's true, Gemara Kerab Meir. We have the tradition, like what Rab Meir said, that whether you're Shem Chinam or you're Shem Sachar, you would be potter. But Rabbi Lazar himself says, I wonder, im Yechelim Zev Zel Shava. I wonder whether you can say that whether the Shem Chinam or the Shem Sachar could swear to pater themselves. And he explains first the Shem Chinam, or first he explains the Shem Sachar, that is. Bishleim Shem Chinam. Even if you'd want to say it's understood regarding the Shem Chinam why it would be potter mishtaba shalei pashaba. He swears that there was no negligence, and you could say that the fact that he slipped is not considered to be negligence, and it'll be potter. How could you say that he swears that he tripped and he would be potter? Even if there was no negligence, he should also have to pay, because the fact that he slipped is similar to Gneva and Aveda, that he should be responsible for this. And then furthermore he said, even a Shem Mechinam as well that slipped and the barrel broke. So how could he say that he swears that this happened and he would be potter? If he's going in a place where there was a slope and therefore he fell and it was out of his control, so then you can understand that it was oinus, so he would be potter. But if he's walking in a place which is not a slope, it's a flat area, could he swear that if he tripped that he did not, there was no negligence on his part, it was a flat place, then there's no reason that he should have paid attention where he's going. And besides this, another point, even if he's going in a place where there was a slope and seemingly this is an inus, it was out of his control, so even there, it's true that we can rely on his shvuah and trust his shvuah that he would be potter now. If it's a place that this happened and there's no other way you could prove it, other than him swearing, nobody else is around and he can't prove anything. If you're outdoors, you're on the street and you're traveling and there's other people that are there, so then the halacha is different. We don't rely on his shvuah. He has to bring a proof for what happened. He has to bring eidim, and only then will he be potter. The Tanya, as we learned in the Braise, Isi ben Yehuda taught when the pasuk says ein roya, that a person that has a pekadon in his possession and no one sees what happened to it, and you claim that it just got lost and you were not negligent. Shavuos Hashem tiyeh ben shneim, you swear that you were not negligent. So what do we understand from the language of the pasuk? That's only if it happened in a place that no one sees. Oh, yesh raya, but if you're in the street, you're in a place that everybody sees, yavi raya v'yifta. You have to bring proof to what happened, and only then will you be potter. We don't rely on your shvuah. And therefore Rabbi Elazar is concluding regarding this person that's transporting a barrel from one place to another in the street, and he claims that during his travel he tripped and fell, so let him bring eidim that this happened. There's traffic in the road, other people must have seen this. So here now the Gemara brings two stories in connection to this halacha of Isi ben Yehuda. There was a story with an individual, he was transporting a barrel of wine in the open plaza of the city of Mechuzah, where there's a lot of people there. And it broke with a beam that was sticking out from a wall, from a house over there in Mechuzah. So he came to Rave and he wanted to know if he would have to pay. He was ready to swear that it wasn't his fault, he was not negligent about this, and he should be potter. So Amalei, Rave said to him, this open big plaza there, by Mechuzah, there's a lot of people that are around over here. We're not going to rely on you swearing that it wasn't your negligence. Zil aisirai vifta. You have to go bring proof, bring eidim that you were not negligent, and only then will you be potter. So Amalei Rav Yosef Berei, Rav Yosef, the son of Rav, asked his father, Kaman, according to who are you paskening this way? Ki isi, is it like what Isi said, that in such a kind of case you have to bring a raya with eidim? Amalei. So his father answered him, yes, ki isi. I'm paskening like Isi, usvira long kvasei. This is the way we hold la halacha, like his opinion. Another story where we see that he paskened like Isi. A person says to his friend, Zil zavenli arba meya dani chamre. Go buy for me 400 barrels of wine. A very, very large quantity of wine. What happened? Azal, he went, zavenle, and he bought him this wine. And l'saif asala kamei, and then this shliach, this friend, the shliach that he sent, comes to the person that sent him. And Amalei, he said to him, Zvini l'cha arba meya dani chamre. I bought you 400 barrels of wine. I paid full price. I took all the money you gave me. I paid full price for it, and I got you these barrels of wine. But I'm sorry to let you know, however, they all went bad. It all became vinegar. It's not my fault. So now the question is this actually true? Maybe what happened is he pocketed part of the money, and he went and bought l'chatchila cheap or vinegar, and he didn't actually buy wine. So do we trust him here or not? So they came to Rave to ask about this. And again, here, this person is ready to swear that he bought the wine. Do we trust the Shavua that he would swear that he bought the wine and it only became vinegar later? Amalei, so Rave said like this. Abba meya dani chamre, such a kind of thing to happen, such a huge quantity of wine, tikifi, that it all goes bad, it all becomes vinegar, kalis la milsa. Such a thing, there's a rumor for this, or there's people, everybody would know about this. Adam would know about such a thing that happened. So if this is true, that that after you bought it, this happened, zil aisi raya, go bring proof to this. The mekareki mazvenes, that when you bought it, mazvenes lahu, when you bought this, chamra mal that it was good, perfect wine. You paid full price for it. And only later this happened, that they all went sour all at the same time. You must prove it. And then after, and then you'll be potter. We're not going to rely on a shvua. So again, Rav Yosef asks his father, Kaman, according to who are you paskening when you're requiring to bring Edom and you're not relying on a shvua, ki isi? Or is this according to isi? Amalei. So his father Rav said, ki isi, this is according to isi, svira lo kavasei. And we pasken like isi. So you see over here from this Gemara, as this was a paskin in the Shulchan Aruch, that this idea that you don't rely on a person's shvuah sometimes, it's not only in the case of a shaymer, like you see it from the pasuk where it's learned out, ein roya, which is the pasuk that says by the shaymer, but b'chlal, any time a person could make a shvuah, and usually we trust a shvuah, a person swears about something, that she should be potter, but in any case, a shliach, all kinds of situations, if it's something that it's in a public place, or in a place that we know, that if this is true that it happened, everybody should be knowing about this, then we don't trust the person to swear about this. He has to bring a real proof of Edom. Askin Rav Chia bar Yosef. Rav Chia bar Yosef instituted the following. B'Sichra, in the city of Sichra. Hani the Doru ba'agra. These people that carry that, what they have is this pole that they carry on their shoulders, and this pole is made with this... place it on the shoulders, and then on one side and on the other side they place packages to carry with it, and the isba. So if they were carrying with this pole on their shoulders and it broke, and the things that you were carrying fell and also broke, so is it the responsibility of the person that carried this? Is it his negligence? So Rav Chia bar Yosef instituted that nishalam palga, that it's unclear whether it's his negligence, and therefore he only pays half. My time, and what's the reason for this? Because nafish lachad, the way they would carry, it's really a load that's too much for one person to handle. They designed this pole in such a way that you should be able to carry on both sides more than one person could usually carry. But vizutter letrei, but it's also a load that is little for two people. Two people can carry much more than this. And therefore, such a case, on one hand, you can say it's kar of loinus. It's considered to be something which is close to an einus, because this was the minig then that they carry here with this pole on both sides, and they would work hard to carry this. And so therefore, when it breaks, it's something that a person can say, I didn't expect this to happen, because everybody does this. But on the other hand, v'kadav l'pshia, it's also close to, you can consider it to be a negligence, because you know that this is something that's heavy for one person to carry. So therefore, it's unclear whether it's his responsibility or not. So in this case, Rav Chia bar Yosef instituted that you pay half. This is an unusual thing, because b'derech klal, such a kind of thing, if there's a doubt whether you're responsible or not, what's the halacha? So then prove that it's my negligence. But over here, this kind of thing, he was misakin that it's unclear if he's chayiv or not. He was misakin that he should pay half. Now, bedigla, there was another kind of pole that they would carry on themselves, and this is a pole that the shape of it is like the picture that I saw of this is that it's shaped like a lange tzaddik. There's a long pole, and then it splits at the end, and you put it on you through your neck, and then you carry the two sides of it. It's held on the shoulders, and it's hanging both. Okay, so akapanim, this digla, I'm just trying to describe here what I saw. I saw here over here in Rashi. Rashi says. Whatever that means. It sounds like he puts it through his neck. Al-Kapanim, so it's carried over here in this kind of way. So if it broke and what he's carrying got broken, Mishalim Kula. Over here, he's going to be responsible to pay for the whole thing, because this is something which is clear that it's his negligence that he was carrying too much. Because this is a load that's meant for two people to carry, not for one person. Okay, now the story that happened was Rabbe Bar Chanan Tovrule Hanush Kuloi Chavite de Chamre. So you had these people, these porters that were carrying for him a barrel of wine, and they broke it, and they were carrying for him. So what did he do? So they're responsible for this. It was their negligence, and therefore they were responsible to pay him. Shaka liglimayo. He took their clothing or their shirt or their whatever for payment. Also, Omru Ravami, they came and they said to Rav, that is. Also, Omru Rav, they came to Rav, Amalei, Havluhu Glimayu. So Rav told Rabbi Baba Chanan, go return the shirt that you took from them. Amalei, so Rabbi Baba Chanan says to Rav, Dina Hachi, is this the halacha that I have to return it to them? They were negligent about this. So why they owe me money and they're not paying me, so I took their shirt for payment. This is Rashi's pshat in the Gemara here, that it was a fact that they were negligent, and therefore they owed him the money. According to other Rishonim, this story here is similar to the story that it said in the beginning, that in a place which is in the public, so if you claim that it was your negligence and you swear about it, you're not trusted. You have to bring Eidim. So over here, because it was in a public place, so therefore they didn't bring Eidim, that it wasn't their negligence, so therefore if that's the case, they should pay him. So therefore he took their shirt. That's why he's asking Rav, why should I return their shirt? They owe me this money. So Amalei, so Rav answered him, you're right, that's Me'ikar Adin, they owe you the money, but Leman Telech Bederech Tovim. You should go in the path of, in a good way. And Rashi says this means Lefnim Meshuras Adin, go beyond the letter of the law and don't take away their shirt because they owe you money. So Yav Lugli Mayu, he gave them back their shirt. Amrulei, so then these poor people that were working for him, they said to him further, Ani anan, we're poor, v'tachina kula yoyme. We worked for you all day, we were carrying for you, and what happened? Nebuch, they did the job, and it broke. And v'kafinon, we're hungry, v'leslam mida, we have nothing. So they were basically asking to be paid for the work that they did, even though they were really negligent and they broke it. Amalei zil have a grayu. So Rav tells Rabbi Baba Chanan, go give them the money for the work that they did. Amalei, so Rabbi Baba Chanan asks Rav, Dina Hachi, is this the halacha? I owe them money if they were negligent and broke what they were carrying for me. Amalei, so Rav told him v'orches tzadikim tishmar. That the pasuk there, the continuation of the previous pasuk, Laman Telech B'derech Tovim, then the pasuk concludes and says that the ways of the tzaddikim, Hashem guards them. Meaning that you should behave Lefnim Meshuras Adin and give them the money that you owe them for the work that they did, even though they were negligent about this. Hadran, he only gained. Hadran Allah chasaycheres haumnen. This is the conclusion of the sixth Perek. We shall return to you the sixth Perek of Bava Metzia chasaycheres haumnen. Continue the next Perek, the seventh Perek of Bava Metzia chasaycheres hapayalim. So the next Perek will also discuss the halachas of a person that's hiring a worker. A person that hired workers. And the payalim that this Mishnah talks about is someone that's hiring a worker for the day. He's paying them for the time, not for the job. And when he hired them, he didn't make any conditions in the beginning that they should work for him any differently than the work that workers do. And afterwards, he tells them, I want you to come early to work or to stay later than everybody. So what do they have to follow what he says? So if the custom in this place is that the workers do not come early or they don't stay late, he's not allowed to force them to come early and to stay late. There was no such condition made in the beginning. So how could he now come and make such terms? The Gemara will explain what's the chiddush for this. It's obvious that he shouldn't be able to do this. In a place where the minig is that the employer feeds his workers. Yazan, he has to feed them. L'sapek b'mesike, in the place where the minik is that he provides them even more. He provides them sweets, so this means he provides them not just some bread, but he also gives them side dishes and more food. Yisapek, he has to provide them as well. Hakel keminig amedina. You have to do exactly like the custom is in that country, because this is the agreement that's understood when you hire these workers. There was a story with Rabbi Yochanan ben Masya. He said to his son, go out and hire workers for us. So Halach, his son, went, and he hired workers, and he told them that I'm going to feed you. And then when he came back to the father and said, I hired workers, and I told them that we're going to feed them. So he said to his son, Bini, my son, Now that you said to them that you're going to feed them and you didn't specify exactly what you're going to feed them, so now even if you're going to provide for them as much food as Shlomo Melech had in his time, it's not going to be enough of what you're providing for them. Sheheim b'nei Avram, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, because every Yid that you hire to work for you, a descendant of Avram, Yitzchak and Yaakov, deserves even more. So therefore he says, Elo, at shelo yaschilu b'melacha, before they begin the actual work, tseva amar lehem, go and clarify to them that when you said that I'm going to feed you, what does this mean? That the food that I'm going to give you is some bread and beans, and not more. And this is dafka before they begin the work. Once they begin the work, you can't now change from what you said in the beginning. But before they begin the work, the Gemara before spoke about this, whatever you said at that point is just dvarim, it's just words, and therefore you can still come and clarify what you meant by that. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, it's not necessary to come and clarify what it is that you're going to feed them, because like we said before, you go according to the custom of the country. However an employer feeds the workers, that's what you're going to have to feed. Talk to Gemara, Pshita, the first case of the Mishnah that it said that you hired workers, and then later you want to force these workers, you're asking them to come extra early and leave extra late, so you can't force them to do this. So it's obvious. Why should you be able to ask workers to do something that's not their obligation? And says the Gemara, we don't need the din of the Mishnah only in the following case. The tafalahu agrayu. He added to their pay. He's paying them more than other workers. So somehow the time I would think, he says to the workers, the fact that I added more pay to your work, for your work, that I only am paying you more so that you come earlier and you leave later. Bahadoi, with me. So Kamash Malon, so therefore the Mishnah is saying that he could not demand this from them, even if he's paying them more. Because the Amrulay, the workers say to the employer, hi, the toughest lawn, the fact that you are paying us more, Adaite da'avdina avidete shapirta. That's the intention here is that we should do good work. We should do very good, perfect work for you. And we're going to work and do good work. But to stay late or to come early, that we're not obligated. Amar Reish Lakish said, Poyol biknisasai, a worker, when it comes in the time in the morning when he enters into the city to come to work, mishaloi. So he has to. Let me start again. Biknisasai means when he comes into the city, when he comes back home at night. So when he comes home at night, mishaloi. So this has to be on his time, which means he has to stay at work until until it's dark. And then by the time when it's dark, that's when he leaves work and he comes home. Meaning that it comes out that the travel to come into the city has to be off of his own time. He doesn't take off of the time of his employer to be able to come home. But on the other hand, when he goes out to work in the morning, mishal balabayis. So the time that he has to begin working for his employer is at Netzachama, when the sun shines in the morning. So he doesn't have to go out from before Netz, from the Aleis HaShachar, to arrive at work at Netzachama. No, he has to, from the time of Netzachama, that's when he goes out to work. So Mishal Balabais, he takes off from the time of the Balabais to travel out, to arrive to work. Shanemar, as the Pasuk says, Tizrach Hashemesh Yeseifun, the sun, when it shines, Yeseifun, that's when they gather. This literally refers to the animals that are out during the night. So when the sun shines, that's when they go out and they gather together and they hide away in the forest. Vel mainasam yirbatzen, and in the places where they dwell, they go and lie there during the day. And a person goes out to his work until the evening. So from this pasuk we learn that the end of the pasuk where it says a person going out to his work, Tizrach Hashemesh, only when the sun shines by Netzachama, that's when you go out to work. And but you have to stay at your work though until it's night, and then you have to take off from your own time to go back home. So the Gemara asks, how can we learn this from the pasuk? We learned already in the Mishnah that you have to see what the custom is. Let's see what the custom in the city is, and that's what will be the terms of when you come to work and when you leave work. And says the Gemara, Be'ir Chadasha. It's a new city, so there is no custom here. But so what? The people that here established this new city, let's see who these people are, from where they came, what their minig is. Answers the Gemara, no, you can't establish this because b'nikutoi. These are people that were collected from different areas, and there's different minhagim, that some have this minig, some have that minig, and there's an argument which minig we should follow. So that's why we're saying it, that you go according to what it says in the pasuk. Or another pshat, we could say when we can use what it says in the pasuk to amar lahu da grisili kepayel da'iraisa. If the employer says, I'm hiring you, and that the terms of when you arrive and when you leave should be like it says in the Torah, so then you follow what it says here in this pasuk in Tilim, that they have to leave their homes at Netzachame and leave their work at Seisa Kachavim to go back home. Okay, so now the Gemara here will explain the psukim over there in Tilim, that it says before the pasuk of Tizrach Hashemesh. Darash Rab Zeire, V'amri lo, Tani Rab Yosef. Ma'idach Siv, what is it shot of the pasuk earlier there where it says, Toshas Chayshech, the Eibusha places darkness, Vihi Loila, and it's night. By Tirma is Kalchayse Yar, and then all the animals of the forest crawl around. Toshas Chayshech Vihi Loila, the darkness that the pasuk is talking about, Ze Oila Maze, it's this world. Shadaime Lelaila, it's a place of darkness. By Tirma is Kalchayse Yar, and that there's animals of the forest that are around in this world, who is referred to Eilu Rishayim. Shabai, these are the Rishayim in this world, Shadaimin L'chaya Shibiyar, that are similar to the animals in the forest. And so the pasuk here is saying that our world is a place that there's a lot of Rishayim around. There's the famous expression the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, that Eilam Hazeh is Kashem V'Roim V'Rishayim Gevrim Bay. This world we live in is a place where there's a Chayse Yar around. Then the pasuk says, Tizrach Hashemesh, the sun shines, Yeyoseifun, Ve'elmainosim Yirbotzim. What does this pasuk here mean? Tizrach Hashemesh, when will the sun shine? This is L'Tzadikim. For the Tzadikim, the sun will shine when the lost Lavai. And Yeyoseifun, when it says Yeyoseifun of the pasuk, this is Rishayim L'Gehenim. This is the Rishayim that will be gathered into Gehenim. Ve'elmainosim Yirbotzim, and they will lie in their dwellings. This goes back on the Tzadikim. Ein l'cha kol tzadik v'tzadik she'ein loy moder lefikvayde. There's no tzadik that will not have his dwelling according to his level of honor that he deserves. Then the pasuk says, "Yetzi Adam lefaloi," that he goes out, the man goes out to his work. This is also referring to the tzaddikim. Yetzu tzaddikim, the tzaddikim, they leave this world, and where do they go to? Lekabel schara, to receive the reward for their work in this world. And for the work that you do until the evening. What does Adei Yarev mean? One that finishes his work Adei Yarev until the evening, which means the work that he does until the day he passes away. Dr. Gemara, Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon. Here the Gemara will say a very interesting, fascinating story about Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon. So Ashkach lahu far hagune. So he encountered this far hagune, which was basically a police, the Kotofes Ganvi, that he was out trying to catch the thieves. Amalei, so Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon tells him, "Hey, how could you identify these thieves? Lav, kechiyuse, mesili, aren't they compared to the animals?" And that's why the story comes in here, because of the pasuk we brought before. The chsiv by termos kalchayse yar, like these animals that crawl around and then they hide in the forest, and therefore it's very hard to identify these thieves. Ikadamri, others say, Mahaikra Kamale, that Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon, when he asked him, how could you identify these thieves? He asked him from a different pasuk where it says, Yerev b'mistar, ka'arye b'sukai, that they hide and they're like a lion that's in his place, in his den, where you can't identify them. And therefore he asks him, Dilme shaklis tzadiki v'shavkas rashi. Maybe when you catch these people and you accuse them of being thieves, maybe you're really taking someone that's a tzaddik and you're not catching the Rasha, the ones that are actually the Ganavim. So Amalei, so this police asks Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon, so am I Yavid, so what should I do? Harman edam alkohu, this is my job that the king gave me that I have to do, and therefore I have to catch the Ganavim. If I end up catching someone that's innocent, what could I do? So Rabbi Loza bar Rab Shimon, Amalei, he tells him, Ta agmarach heichitavid. Let me teach you what you should do. Here, this is how you'll identify who are the Ganavim. Ubar ba shoy lechanusa. Come 4 hours into the day, basically when people come and eat lunch or maybe a late breakfast. So then they come then into the store. And kichazes inish, the kashasi chamre, when you see that there's a person there that's drinking wine, v'kanakit kasa biyadeh, and he's holding his cup of wine in his hands, v'kamenamnem, and he's dozing off. So this means that this is someone that was up at night. He's tired. Why is this person so tired? It's only 4 hours into the day and he's already falling asleep on his breakfast. Why is this? So Sha'al Alavei, inquire about him. Why is he tired now? Now, if he's a young Talmud Chochem, so then you know why he's tired. So he's falling asleep or he's dozing off because he got up very early in the morning to learn. If he's a worker, so then you know also why he's tired, because Kadim Avidite, he got up early to do his work. If this is someone that works during the night, so then you can say Redudi Rodid. He was working at night, and even if nobody heard him working at night, it's quiet, but could be he does kind of work that's very quiet. Redudi Da, he works with metal, with chains, he makes little needles out of this, and this is kind of work that's very quiet, and it could be he was working all night and nobody heard. But v'iloi, if after you inquire you find out that this individual is none of these is the reason why, whether he's up at night or up early in the morning, then you know ganvahu. Then you know that this person is dozing off at this time because he was up at night stealing. V'tafse, and you can grab him. That's how you identify the ganav. This advice that Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon, they heard this by the king or the government. So Amru, they said to him, Kraine the Igris, the one that reads the letter, he should be the one that should put it into practice. You gave such good advice, so go do this yourself. You go and catch these thieves. So Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon, so v'kataf gamvi. So Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon Taka went and he was catching the ganavim. Va'azal. And he brought them. He would take them. He brought them to the king, the ganavim that he caught. Shalach le Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha sent and told Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon about what he was doing here. He was catching the ganavim, and these were Yidden that he was catching and giving them over to the government. So he sent them and he said, Chaymetz ben Yayin. You're sour vinegar, the son of wine, which means you're a Rasha. You're the son of a tzaddik. He's the son of. We're talking here about Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rab Shimon ben Yochai. So he says that your behavior is a behavior of a rasha, and therefore he referred them with this expression of Chaymetz ben Yayin. Ad masai atamaiser amai shalalakeinu lahariga. Until when are you going to be doing this to give over the nation of Hashem to the government, and they will kill this person that's a ganav? Shalach lei. So Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon answered back, no, what I'm doing is right. Kaitzim ani mechalim and akerem. The thorns that there are in the vineyard, which means, in other words, the rishayim that there are amongst the Eden, I'm cutting them off, I'm giving them away to the government. So what I'm doing is good, getting rid of the rishayim. Shalach lei, Rabbi Shua ben Karcha sent him back and said, no, it's not your job to do this. Yavai balakerem v'yachales kaitzav. Let the one that is the owner of the vineyard, let him take care of the thorns. You shouldn't be giving over, informing and giving over these Yidden to the government. The Rishayin already discussed this. It's a very big pella, what Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon was doing here. He was taking Yidden that were Ganavim and giving them over to the government. How is he allowed to do this? So they say that there's two things. First of all, there's certain times where the Chachamim have the rights to do such a thing when they see that there's Rishayim that are out of control and they're causing harm and pain for everybody. They're allowed to do such a kind of thing. And as we'll see here in the continuation of the Gemara, we're talking about these Yidden that were Mamish Rishayim that deserve this kind of behavior. So that's why Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon was doing this. There's also another thing that the Rebbe brings this in a Sikha, and the Rebbe says that who was Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon? We know the story that it says after Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon came out from the cave together with his father, wherever Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon would look and he would see people that are working and are not learning Torah, his eyes would burn up everybody. He couldn't handle the fact that there was Rishayim or there was people in the world that are not sitting and learning Torah all day. And then Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, though, whatever he burnt up, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai healed it and brought it back. So we see Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon was on such a level that he couldn't handle anything or any people that exist in the world that are doing things against Torah. And this is also his kind of behavior that he had over here. And the Rebbe there says that it seems like that this story happened after his father, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, had already passed away. So therefore he was behaving this way. Okay, the continuation of the story. The Gemara says, Yom Echad, one day, Pagabeahu Kaivis. So there was a launderer that encountered him. And Karya, he also referred to him with the same expression. He says, Chaymetz ben Yayin, that you're like vinegar, the son of wine. So now Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon said, now Miduchatzev Kulahai, if this person is such a chutzpah to refer to me this way, this is not that Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha was one of the teachers of Rabbi Elazar Rab Shimon. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha referred to him this way. It's not a chutzpah. But this individual is referring to him this way. Shma minor Shiyahu. So it must be this person is a Rasha. Amaluhu tifsuhu. He said to the police, grab him. Tafsuhu, and they grabbed him and they imprisoned him. Labasa danach daite, after he calmed down, Ozl basrei lefruke. He went after him to see where this launderer is. He wanted to redeem him from prison. V'le matzi. He couldn't redeem him from prison. So he said about this person, if he would have just kept his mouth closed, then he would have not had any pain and suffering. Rashi says it refers to this launderer, that if he wouldn't have been chutzpahdik to me, he wouldn't have been in this trouble. The Mashal says that he was saying it on himself, that I should have kept my mouth shut and I shouldn't have informed upon him. Zakfuhu. But then what happened is they hung him. Kom Tusei Zekifa, so Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was standing there below this person that was hung, the Kabachi, and he was crying because of what he caused. Amrulei. So then they said to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, you're crying for this individual that was hung. Rebbe, our Rebbe, Al Yera Beinecha. You shouldn't feel bad about what you did. Because Shehu Ubenoi, this individual here, and his son, Balu Naira Ma'irasa B'Yom Kippurim. They did such a big aveda of a relation with a Naira Ma'irasa, a girl that's already married, Ma'irasa, the first stage of marriage, and went on Yom Kippur. So for such a kind of aveda, Minatayra, there's a chi of skila. So the fact that here now he was hung, you shouldn't feel bad about this. So now you understand over here, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, the people that he was informing on, all this Rishayim, they were people of this sort. After he heard this, he placed his hands on his stomach and Omar, and he says, speaking to himself, Sisu b'nei meyai sisu. My stomach can be happy, it can be happy. And why? Because he said like this, if the things that you did, really speaking to himself, that it's doubtful whether I was right or not. So it turns out now that I was right, that this person that got killed, he deserved it. The things that I did earlier, that he would inform, or he would take these thieves and give them over to the government, and there he was certain that they were Rishayim. And he had ways, as we saw before, he had ways to see that they were Ganavim. So definitely what I did was right. Muftachani b'chem, I am guaranteed regarding, he's speaking again about his stomach, and he said, that when I'm buried, then there'll be no rima v'teleya, no worms will come to eat my stomach, because he was an absolute tzaddik, and I did nothing wrong. That's what he said to himself. But then the Gemara concludes, nevertheless, he still wasn't fully calm with himself about what he did. So what did he do? Ashkiyu Sama the Shinte. They gave him to eat, to drink a potion that put him to sleep. They put him under anesthesia. They brought him into a room that's built out of marble, which should be completely insulated from any wind. This is basically like today, you take a person into a surgery, and they opened up his stomach, and have a mafkemine the kuli the tarba, and they took out from his stomach baskets and baskets of fats. So Rashi says that he was a very fat individual. Umaisvi b'shimshe b'tamuz va'ov, and they took out the fats that they took out from his stomach, and they put it out under the sun, and when it was really hot during the months of Tammuz and Av, v'lei masrichi, and it did not. There was no bad odor from this. And he took this out, and he did this all to see what's my status. Am I still a tzaddik based on what I did or not? He wanted to see whether the fat that were taken out of his body would spoil under the sun. And it did not. So this was for him a sign that he's still a tzaddik. But the Gemara asks him this, how is this a sign? Kol tar benami leisriach. When you have fats or oil that you put under the sun, there's no bad odor that comes from it. So the Gemara says, no, kol tar b'leisriach. True, the fats does not have a bad odor, but shiraiki sumki masriach. But if it's together with some reddish part of the flesh that's with it, that should have been a bad odor under the sun. But here, even if it was together with some reddish part of the flesh, nevertheless, there was no bad odor from this. So after this, he was certain that he was a tzaddik, and he said on himself, Af besari yishkan levetach. My flesh can dwell and be in levetach, guaranteed that he's an absolute tzaddik with what he did.